Now, a couple weeks later, the 765 is gone, as you can see, and moved all of our stuff around a bit, including the 76. But bobber caboose is still here, and that's really the only piece of visiting equipment we have still here. We still got some of our stuff on the other side. We got the tool and crew cars over here, plus the PM box car and the power car, and then next to them is the D&M gondola still with the coal in it. We're gonna keep using the coal for the rest of the year. Pretty much bought the whole year. Here's the Mighty Mouse, same as usual. And over here, just today I finished painting, getting the first coat of paint on the end of the box car. I gotta do a review, like I said, when things get closer to finish with it. So hopefully in the next couple weeks here I'll be able to do that, thanks to finally having some good weather. Anyway, the sleeper car is still over here, and it's gonna need some work done to it, probably on the outside pretty soon, just to make sure things are still good with it. Of course, it being next to the ash servicing area doesn't help that much, especially when the wind blows, so we probably have to wash it off. The interior is still fine. We just need to still raise money for the new air conditioning system that it lacks. It has the old air conditioner under it, but of course that doesn't work anymore. We got heat in it, so we're one step closer. Anyway, coming into the back shop now, but I'd go ahead and go over what we're doing with 1225. We're starting the annual, and we gotta tear different pieces off of it and work on it and inspect them. As you can see, we got the valve gear for the engineer side out, and I'll go over that. Okay, so we got the chain fall here on the side to help us get things out from the cylinders, and we removed the steps on this side. See right here, they're laying down, and unfortunately that's uncovered the spot where they were, which is unpainted, so we're gonna have to clean that up a bit hopefully before we put that back on. And this gives us a better look at the air compressors here on this side, and you can see where the valve shutoffs are in here. Here's one up here, and I think, well, you can see the other lines. That's what I mean. You know, there's no other shutoffs on here. The rest of them are under here. Got one up there, and let's see. There's the other one. Can't remember where the other one is. Anyway, you get the point. Those shut off the valves, so that when you start them up, the water drains out until you get pure steam. Anyway, here are the pieces of the valve gear that go in there, parts that are being inspected. And here's the piston piece, and you might think that's a weird shape, and it is for a reason. And here's the rod that it slides on to. This here, the part that you'd see on the outside of the steam chest, which would go right in here. And as you can see, there's nothing in there because it's right out there on the sawhorses. So we go right in there. So that shiny piece that sticks out will go through here and attach to the pieces in here, which goes onto this rod, which then works all the valve gear. And then it's all attached to that big piece here to the main piston drive through this rod. And this small rod here that's connected to drives the crank for the oil. This is the valve oil. So this is the stuff that actually works into the cylinder and with the heat, and works in conjunction with lubricating the pieces in here. It's much tougher than the engine oil, which is on the other side, basically because it has to go in here and endure extreme heat. So before we go in there, here are the piston rings, or the pieces of them that go on here and fit around there and help to keep it all in place. Basically just like the engine in your car, only it's on steam. And the rings expand when they're in there to fit against the sides of the actual piston chamber. Now let's actually look in there and see what we can see. It's dark on the outside, but we got the cover off, so I'm just going to shine the light in here and see the hole on the other side where the rod goes through. And this chamber here is basically where this piece and the rings around it go in and act just like a piston would on your car, except for the fact that it's used for timing and the direction of the locomotive. Whereas the main piston, which is not a part yet, is down here, this big one. So you think of how big this is even bigger. Just how much steam pressure that takes to move that, and all the wheels on the locomotive to try and pull the heavy train. What happens in here, the valve gear, is the steam flows in through here. That's the bottom of the branch pipe, which you see out here, that one, and there's one just like on the other side, and they both work in conjunction. The one on the other side is about 3/4 or 3/5 of a turn different. So steam flows in here and equalizes out on top of the piston piece, and depending on where the position of it in here, it's going to go one way or the other. It can't go both ways. Either goes back that way or over this way. And so wherever position that is determines which one of these ports it goes out, which would be these parts here. And here is where steam and water, condensed water, collects and gets blown out. This actually is the area where the steam heats things up. You see the pipe, see the opening here goes to this pipe, and that's the feed water heater. Or excuse me, is that? Yeah. That's the big pipe. There's the other ones, the smaller ones that go to heat the lubricators, which would be back there to the smaller pipes. Anyway, the steam goes out one of these ports, and if it goes down this port, they go down this way into the piston chamber and push the big piston out, turning the rod, pushing the rods out and around on the wheels, turning the wheels around, and that crank lever there moves these rods, which are the valve gear rods, and as you can see, it would push these, depending on where it is. If it's going out, it's going around and then pushes this back in and moves the rod lever and pushes this piston till this part here, the front part, will go and cover up these holes here where the steam is flowing out of at the moment, cut it off, and then the steam now has to escape to those holes back there, and then drops down into the back of the piston, pushing the bottom piston back in and around for the full turn. And the whole point of the valve gear is to set the gear and direction of the locomotive, kind of like the gear shift in a manual transmission car. Basically how however the engineer moves the reverser, on this one to the right or the left because of the screw wheel, or on other locomotives with a Johnson bar or a power reverse lever, it'd be forward or backward. In the middle would be neutral. So that is how it all works. The valve gear and the drive gear inside the steam chest here. And this is all inside. This is all outside valve gear. Inside valve gear locomotive wouldn't have all this on the outside; it would have it on the inside of the frame, which is okay for a small locomotive, but a big locomotive like this would make it even harder to service. So if you wanted to put the engine in reverse, on this one it works like this with the Baker valve gear. In the reverser, the reach rod would pull back on this to make it go backward, and right now it's in the middle position or neutral, and it will go forward to make it go forward. And that moves this rod up or down and changes the position of the piston inside the valve gear to whichever direction that you want to go. So it directs the steam inside the steam chest to either push or pull. Well, either way it's got to be pushing on the piston. Either it's pushing forward or pushing back on the drive piston. And that's how it works. Say hello to the cinders. He's taking advantage of this piece of insulation we ripped out of there. As is napping there. I don't know why, it's pretty hot and muggy out here. Anyway, I'm going to go up and show you in the cab too what we're doing. In the cab now, the 1225, we got things set back up so that we could have the light plugged in again. So that way now you can see again what we were doing here. Barney's big boy statuette here in the bobblehead is still in here. Kind of homage to him. We're working in the firebox and taking down stuff for the inspection. I've already taken off some of the gauges in here. As you can see, the pressure gauge is off. But that gives us a better idea of what's going on in here since we last showed you. See the gauges for the stoker are off, and over there for the air brakes are also gone. And we're eventually going to remove all the gauges so they can be tested. So that way we can have it back together by this fall and ready to go. If not for anything else, for MPE. But anyway, yeah, everything's going to be flushed out and tested. Made sure it runs okay. We're going to do another hydro as per government rules and make sure everything runs okay. This also gives you a good view of the new jacketing that we have put on here. As you can see, we got new trim pieces too for everything, for the gauges and for this piece here. I mean for the washout plugs. These ones in here aren't finished yet. He's still got to make collars for those. We got to remove most of the washout plugs to do the inspection. So I think we got to remove these ones too. So that means we got to move the insulation aside and pull them out. Anyway, let's see. Does the light work still? There we go. You can see they did some work in here. They still some coal in the pot because there's still coal in the tender. But they took down the arch bricks, as you can see. They're laying all over the grates there instead of up on there. That's so we can clean off the arch tubes and the thermic siphons in front of you and inspect them, make sure there's no leakage when we do the hydro. You can see the tube sheet back there, kind of. Can't really see very well the ends of the superheaters inside them, but you've seen that in another video when I went in there when we first got running again. So yeah, I'm not going to be too worried about you seeing that. Just go check out that video. Anyway, you got the ceiling, and it's all been swabbed pretty good. The dark spots have, but we're going to have to clean it off the rest of the way to make sure we can inspect it the right way. So in here it's pretty much all ready to be inspected. Once we put the arch bricks back in, and once the inspection's over, we got to make sure that the grates still work. A few more fingers fell out when we're servicing during Train Expo. Anyway, okay, come back out here. You can see still got a lot of stuff on here on the engineer's side, fireman's side too. Haven't taken off any of those controls. It's mainly just the gauges for right now, and still working on it. You can see they capped off the lines that go to the gauges. And well, that's pretty much it at the moment. And we're gonna keep going. Still got the coal in here. I got to clean branches off because it seemed during Train Expo we picked up some more. I don't know why the 765 didn't pick up as many. Gotta do some more work here in the shop too. So yeah, I gotta go before the battery dies and get out of here. But first, yeah, we got the cap off the steam done too, so that way we can do a more thorough cleaning of the boiler. Anyway, that's about it. So from SRI, your first little view after the Expo. Now on to the annual inspection.